host, Joshua.
And I'm your host, Ariel.
And we're the Midnight Guild. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Midnight Guild. Hashtag the Guilders.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what we have coined our new little phrase as.
Yes, you guys are the Guilders,
You are the Guilders, honey. Yes, let us guild you. That sounds a little dirty. Let's not.
Let us not you.
Not.
Get it? Not
yeah.
you.
Oh, yeah. That's cute.
Yeah.
That's cute. That's cute. So, on today's episode, we have a true story that comes from a friend of Ariel's. And now, I've actually had the pleasure of meeting this lady, very lovely, and we thank you so much for letting us tell this story.
Yes, you're amazing. Love you so much.
We do appreciate it. And now I don't know the story per se. I know what the story is about.
Yeah.
And honey, when I tell you it's a doozy.
It is. It's a lot.
A doozy. I think,
Abel!
yes, Abraham wants to, he wants to be part of it.
He didn't come up in our last episode.
I know, but he's here now.
Yeah, because we filmed 2 in one day. And
wow, just tell all our
well, you can tell because we were in the same clothes back to back.
Fair enough.
Fair enough, honey.
Fair
so
enough.
Abel wouldn't get up here for the last one, and we were sad.
But he's here now.
We do, baby.
Yes, little Abraham.
He's so handsome. We'll have to get shirts made with his face on it.
He's our little mascot.
He's our mascot.
He don't know which chair he wants to be on.
He wants to be with his mama.
Wow.
Come here, baby.
That little traitor.
Come on. Yay.
Wow, he just left his papa.
He wants to be with his mama because I give all the loves.
He's decided that he wants to, he no longer wants to be a background kitty. He wants to be a co-star.
Yeah, a co-star. Guys, thank you so much for being here, and we appreciate all your support and your love.
Everything.
Yes.
It's very overwhelming, and we just appreciate it so much. I mean, you are becoming part of our family.
Yes, honey.
Yes, honey, because the one thing about a guild, honey,
we stick together.
We stick together, honey. We will always take care of our guilders.
That's right.
Yes.
Okay, are you ready for this?
Sorta. I'm honestly a little antsy about
scary.
this. It's very scary.
It is scary.
And what makes it scarier is it's real.
Yeah.
I mean, we've met these people.
I'll agree. The first time Makala told me this story, that's my friend's name. The first time she told me this story, she didn't tell it to me in detail because it's really hard for her to talk about. So honestly, I got the full-blown story from her mother, Tracy, who's also a good friend of mine. I got the full story from Tracy because Makala was like, just talk to Mom because it's really hard for me to talk about. And I was like, okay. I was like, now, if you don't want me to tell the story, I don't have to. She goes, oh, no, girl. Like, you can tell the story. Yeah. I was like, okay, cool. So, but the very first time that Makala even told me a smidgen of this story, it made my skin crawl.
Naturally.
And, I mean, I was like, I was scared. So let's just get started. Sound good?
Let's jump right in.
Okay. I'm going to tell this story from the point of view of Tracy, which is Makala's mother. And that's because I got the full story from Tracy. And I think it will actually play a better role in explaining what Tracy saw and how Makala changed. Yeah. And also, I will throw tidbits in of Makala's perspective as well, but I'll make sure and differentiate who I'm talking about.
You done good.
Thank y'all. Yeah. Hey, that's a big word.
It was, honey, big.
Okay, so kick back, get yourself some hot cocoa, a popcorn ball. I just said popcorn ball because it's Christmas.
Popcorn ball.
yeah, because it's Christmas. Get it? Because it's Christmas. So get yourself some hot cocoa, a popcorn ball.
A little gingerbread.
Yeah, or maybe just regular popcorn because who's bougie enough to have just popcorn balls all in their house?
I mean, honey, we might have some Orville Redenbacher up in the...
And we can roll them in, I think it's caramel? Or something.
Something like that.
Oh my God, I got so country on you just then. Or something.
It's all right, honey. It's all right. So sometimes our dialect slips a little bit more than
because we try to maintain it.
We really do, because we don't want y'all to think that we're
cornbread.
And uneducated hicks.
But we are. I'm just kidding.
A little bit.
The uneducated part, no. We're very educated.
We're very educated,
but the hick part,
I mean, honey, listen. This dialect is just something you just can't get rid of,
Mm-mm.
honey. I swear to God, honey, it's like the lies. You just can't get rid of it,
You just can't get rid of
honey.
it.
But we just gonna embrace our true countryness, honey. Yes. While she tells this story and
Yes.
probably gets us dinged for vaping on the
That's on TikTok, not
um,
on YouTube.
TikTok. You need to shape up,
Yeah, TikTok needs to calm down. I'm like, it'd be different if I wasn't of age, but
honey.
damn.
They be dinging us all the time because she got to hit her little vape.
I won't do it next live. I'll walk off camera to do it.
She better, because she yelled at me at our last live.
I didn't yell.
She raised her voice.
So he could hear me. I wasn't being mean.
Fame is going to her head.
Shit.
Well, Beyonce. Bouncy.
So, like I said, grab a snack, come back, and we will continue.
And settle in for spooky stories with Ariel and Joshua.
And Abraham.
Hashtag the Guilders.
Okay, so like I said earlier, this is before I met Makala. And she was a sophomore in high school when this happened.
A baby.
Yes. So Makala started dating this guy, and we'll call him Joe. That's not his real name. So Makala started dating Joe when she was around 15.
That boy was a walk away Joe. Born to be a leader. Sorry.
So Makala started dating Joe when
Walk away Joe.
when she was 15, and he was around the same age. He was like, I think he was 15 as well, but he might have been 17. And things were going really, really well for the first little bit. And then the more that she got to know Joe, and he actually came over and hung out with her a lot at her mom's apartment, um, he started getting a little bit weird. Like he didn't seem like his usual self. And Tracy just kind of Makala's mom, just kind of chalked it up, to teen angst, whatever,
Yeah.
just being a boy, whatever. Makala has two other siblings, a brother and a sister. So they're all living in this apartment. And Tracy actually has a really good friend that lives a couple apartments down. And she actually babysits for her friend all the time. Tracy does.
Mhm.
And so Tracy, where she was home all the time, started noticing like weird things happening around the house. Like things would get moved. Things would be in different rooms that they, like when I say get moved, like they would like fall off of like tables.
Poltergeist activity.
Basically. Things would go missing. Just a lot of weird things. And also, but she noticed those more when she was at home alone to start with. And Tracy said that it started getting to the point where, like every morning, like in the early morning hours, she would watch a shadow come into her room on the regular, like her while she's just laying there in bed. Yeah, she would literally like watch a shadow come into her room, or like the door would the door would open a little bit and like nobody would be there.
No, ma'am. No.
Mm-hmm. Or like hear somebody in the hallway type of thing. Yeah, weird. So more and more creepy things start happening like that around the house. And Tracy's just like, I just don't understand. Like it was never like this before. Why has this just happened out of nowhere? She's like,
Joe. Why.
I've not brought anything in this house.
They brought Joe.
Like, like thrifting or anything like that. Like nothing is old has been brought in the house. Like we didn't bring this in, is what she's trying to say. So Tracy starts thinking to herself, huh, the house starts being weird when Joe starts being weird.
I told you. That little walk away Joe, honey.
Mm-hmm.
That little walk away Joe ain't up to no good.
So Tracy, she has kind of got an eye on Joe, but there's really no telltale signs that it's him. But she's got her eye on him. Keep that in mind.
She watching.
Well,
Joe, she watching.
The paranormal activity keeps picking up in this house, in apartment. One day, Tracy has ran down to her friend's house because her dryer is messed up.
Okay.
And Tracy's dryer is messed up. Tracy is taking her clothes out of her washing machine and running them down to her friend's house to dry them.
That's dedication.
I agreed. But now, this lady, that is her friend, Tracy babysits her children,
Yes.
as I said earlier. So the kids are up at Tracy's apartment with Makala and her brother and sister.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Tracy is not gone for more than 10 minutes. Okay, this is from Tracy's point of view. She walks in the door and she immediately hears crying, like loud screaming crying.
Oh, Lord.
And she's like, "What's going on up there?" Because they're upstairs in one of the bedrooms. And they're like, "Mom," they're screaming for her. They're like, "Mom, Mom, Mom, Mom," or "Tracy, Tracy, Tracy," we're from the other kids.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes flying up the steps because she assumes that something's happened to the baby. And they fly in the door, and Tracy flies in the door, and the kids are all huddled in one corner, and um, like they look like they're petrified. I mean, they're terrified. They're bawling their eyes out, and they were. She was like, "What's going on in here?" And Makala speaks up. She was like, "Mom, um, we were in here, and that thing started with us. It started shaking the crib."
Oh, God.
Yeah. So it was like shaking the crib and like slinging it back and forth and stuff like that, like in that one little area. And it scared him to death, rightfully so. And Tracy was like, "What on earth?" She was like, "Oh my God, that's terrifying. Why is it picking up like crazy or whatever?" And she was like, "It's never been violent before. So this is concerning." Well, as time goes on, which is not much time at all, it's like this. I think this might have all happened around about the same time. Um, Tracy's starting to get nervous, but then she starts getting even more nervous because Makala's starting to act weird. Makala's being very well withdrawn from the family. She's not as happy as she used to be. She even looks like sickly, like she's starting to look pale.
Yeah.
And not herself by any means. Her eyes are sunken in. She's getting too thin. She just doesn't look like Makala. And this happens pretty fast. And Tracy's like, "What the hell is going on?" And she tries to talk to Makala about it, and Makala's like reassures her she's fine over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Well, Tracy knows she's not fine, but what can she do? She doesn't really know what's going on yet.
Yeah. And she's saying she's fine. So.
Yes. Well, one night, Makala had gotten in the shower and finished her shower, washed her hair, all that stuff, and she hops out and she was going to have her mom detangle her hair.
Yeah.
And Tracy was like, "Oh, Makala, I left the pick downstairs. Run down there and get it for me." And Makala was like, "Okay." And so Makala goes downstairs, gets the pick, and once she does that, and while she's doing that, Tracy just not really thinking about it. She's just, having a moment. So she just starts singing "Jesus Loves Me."
Mm-hmm.
Because she's just got it in her head.
This I know.
Yeah.
For the Bible tells me so. Okay, moving on.
And so Tracy starts singing "Jesus Loves Me" just absentmindedly, and Makala comes back up there and like stops in the doorway. And Tracy didn't think about it for a second, and then she was like, "Makala, come on, let me detangle your hair." And she said Makala just like stood in the doorway and just dead face, not like basically no emotion on her face. Like she just did not look like herself. And she was like, "Makala, come on, like let me detangle your hair." And Makala walked over there without saying anything and just sat down in front of her. And so obviously this creeped Tracy the hell out.
Naturally.
She was like, "Oh my God, that was really, really weird." Oh, Tracy keeps singing that the whole time that she's detangling Makala's hair. And she said like Makala was very rigid and stiff the whole time. Well, the next morning on the way to school, once they get away from the apartment complex a little bit, Makala turns to Tracy and says, "Mom, I need to tell you something." And Tracy's like, "Okay." She was like, "Mom, last night when you were singing "Jesus Loves Me." And Tracy was like, "Yeah." She was like, "Mom," she was like, "when I came up and heard you start singing that," she was like, "I've got chills, sorry." Whew. She says, "Mom, a voice came in my head like the exorcist and told me to tell you to shut the hell up, that Jesus isn't real."
Honey.
When she first told me that, like all the hair on my body stood up, and like I thought I was gonna be sick. Oh God, it just tears me up.
I'm still blaming Joe for some reason. I don't know why, but I'm gonna
Oh,
blame
just
Joe.
wait, honey, just wait. And Tracy is obviously taken aback.
Well, honey, two backs.
Yeah. And she's like, "Oh my God, Makala, are you serious?" And she's like, "Yeah, Mom." She's like, "I'm really scared." And she was like, "Makala, have you been messing with anything that you shouldn't be messing with?" And Makala was like, "No, I haven't. I promise. I haven't done anything." And she said, "But Joe has started getting into, like, has been becoming friends with a lot of Wiccans at school."
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't think they were true Wiccans because they were into this. These kids were into some dark stuff. Like, I'm thinking that this was more on a satanic type level. And I was like, that's probably what they tell everybody they are,
Honey, messing
but
with
they're
stuff they ought
not.
not be messing with.
Yeah, they're no. Okay, anyway. And Tracy was like, "Oh my gosh, Makala," and she was like, "Yeah, Mom, I know, I know." Well, it starts getting pretty pretty bad up in this house, and
Intensifies.
yeah, things get worse and worse in the next like week.
Mm.
Shit starts picking up.
So it's
Well,
getting real.
yeah. So the noises are getting worse. The visits like coming into the bedroom, like him coming into Tracy's bedroom, they're getting worse.
It's
They're starting,
manifesting.
yeah, they're starting to hear like noises, taps, voices, that kind of thing. One night, this is from Michaela's point of view. One night, Michaela goes and she gets in bed, and it gives me chills. She feels like a really heavy presence in the room, and obviously she gets scared.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, her closet door creaks, like makes a
Mm.
creaks open,
And it's the conjuring all over.
and not all the way, but just like a good like a little crack.
Yeah.
And she starts hearing whispering,
Mm-mm.
and then something, some sort of entity, starts talking to Makala out of the closet, telling her to unalive herself.
Oh my.
Yeah, I was trying to think of how to put that delicately.
Oh my.
Yeah. Well, Makala, rightfully so, is absolutely terrified. So she basically just covers her, like, gets under the covers and, like, just lays there in terror for the rest of the night until it gets daylight. And then she runs in there, gets her mom, and gets hysterical. So she goes to Tracy and tells Tracy what happened. And Tracy was like, absolutely not. Mm-mm. Like, no, no,
Mm-mm.
we're ending this to freaking day.
Absolutely.
So Tracy takes all the kids down to her friend's house, and she tells her friend what's going on. Her friend's like, "Oh my God, okay." And they actually run a few houses down because a pastor lives there. And they go get the pastor.
Honey, the good old preacher.
Yes. They go get the pastor, and he comes up and he was like, "Y'all stay out here." And like he came with the oils and, the Bible. He was going to bless the house and everything like that.
Pentecostal.
And he went in there, and he came out about 5 minutes later because first he told her he was just going to go in there and get a feel for the house. And he came out about 5 to 10 minutes later and was like, he was like, "Somebody's let something in this house." He was
Joe.
like,
It was freaking Joe.
he,
I know it was.
he was like, he was like, "Whatever this is, it's demonic. It is not supposed to be here. Somebody has brought this into this house." And Tracy was like, "Okay."
Okay.
And she knew it wasn't Makala because Makala promised. And she was like, "I know it's Joe. I know it's Joe."
I knew it.
So
I
the
knew it.
preacher goes back in, blesses the house, and then comes back out. And honey, half the freaking apartment complex has gathered into the parking lot.
Because what are we good for, honey? A prayer circle.
Yeah,
We
okay.
gonna get
Yeah,
that prayer circle
yeah,
initiated.
they all get together and they basically have like, okay, we don't call it an exorcism because we're not,
Catholic.
Catholic. Um, basically, basically that's what it is. The preacher
We
performed
call it a cleansing.
yeah. Basically, that's what happened though. Is that's what it is. Is the preacher called? Whew, The preacher performed an exorcism right there in the parking lot on Makala.
But we called it cleansing.
Yes. And uh, everybody was gathered around, holding hands, praying, laying hands on Makala, blah, blah, blah. And Tracy never opens her eyes when she prays. She says that she just doesn't. Like when there's a big group thing, she just bows her head and always keeps them closed until the preacher says amen. And she says something told her to open her eyes and to look at Makala.
Oh, gosh.
She said she opened her eyes, looked at Makala, and Makala was leaning back like this right here. Her eyes were rolled back in her head. You couldn't see anything but the whites of her eyeballs. And she was like foaming at the mouth and like violently shaking. And the preacher was like holding on to her and like casting the demon out. Honey, I've got chills. And Tracy said, I mean, she was just absolutely in shock. She said, Ariel, it is like something you see on a movie. She said, I never in a million years. She said, I knew that like casting out demons and stuff like that. She said, I've always known it's real. But she said, she was like, I always thought that they made it Hollywood and made it so much worse. She was like, I'm telling you, it is like something I saw out of a movie. She goes, she said, it petrified me to my core. And I was like, of course it did.
Naturally.
And like, Makala doesn't even remember it happening. That's like, Makala doesn't even remember any of it. She just remembers coming to. And feeling a like light.
Yeah.
She just remembers coming to and feeling like a huge weight had been lifted off her. And Tracy said like literally it was automatic that like the color came back into her cheeks. And like she looked like Makala again.
Yeah.
So they decide to move out of this apartment.
I mean, I would too.
And
maybe.
so they do it like immediately, like within a week they're out of there. And within that week, Tracy goes to Joe at, I'm guessing probably at his house, or called him over or something, and was like, listen here, little boy, you're going to tell me right now, what did you do? Like, did you do some of that witchy shit in here? And, because, I mean, times were different, and so witchcraft was considered, all witchcraft was considered evil, like, but things are a lot different now.
I had couldn't even watch
because I do the witchy stuff now.
Couldn't even watch the Harry Potter. Honey.
No, so because I do the witchy stuff now, but like not Satanist stuff.
Not like, today, anyhow.
Like what? No, never.
I'm just kidding.
Never. Don't let that get out. That's all we need.
I'm just kidding.
Never.
I'm just kidding.
No, honey, I'm of the light. I'm of the Lord, honey.
Honey, we are of the white light. Yes.
So she calls him up and was like, listen here, little boy, you're going to tell me, did you do some of that shit up in here?
I will hope she hit him.
And he was like, no. And she was like, Joe?
Don't lie to me.
Yeah. She was like, don't lie to me. She was like, if you did, she was like, you need to tell me right now, because I don't know if Makala's told you or not, but A, B, and C happened. Like, she told him everything.
Fess up, Joe.
And he was like, yeah, I know, she told me. And, okay, I think that I might have invited something into your home. And she was like, might have. And he was like, well, I did do some spells and like some conjuring type stuff in there. Not conjuring in the house, but like conjuring up things.
Yeah.
And she was like, what?
No, honey, that's just some stuff you ain't got no business dabbling in.
Yeah, and basically she told him to get the F up out of there.
I don't blame him. Good for you, Tracy.
And how, he acts like it was an accident or something like that. Okay. Okay. So Tracy be turning the house upside down, looking for like any remnants of anything. Honey, underneath Makala's bed is a huge ass upside down pentagram that he drew. Like in the damn movies, bitch.
And he just unlocked the door and just let him right on in.
Dear God. And not just there, it was like on a couple of the walls, like behind the curtains or something like that. I can't remember. But, like, this is something you see in a movie.
Yeah.
And, oh my God, it was pandemonium. So
we don't like you, Joe. Yeah.
So, I'm guessing the preacher came and took care of that and everything like that, but they were getting out anyway.
Well, hallelujah.
And Makala has been fine ever since, but I will say this. She does struggle sometimes, and it breaks my heart because Makala is the kindest, sweetest, fantastic mother. I mean, she is just oh my God, she's an angel.
Yeah.
I mean, fantastic friend. You could ask for a better friend. She'd give you the shirt off her back. And just a saint. So I hate that she feels this way sometimes, but she has struggled really bad with her mental health over the years, like we all
I
do,
mean,
but
naturally,
more
though.
severe. And um, she sometimes feels like that when she gets close to those apartments, like she won't even go near them now. She won't, doesn't even want to be in the same town as where these
I
apartments
mean, I
are.
can't blame her.
And because the closer that she is to these apartments, but even if she's like halfway through town, nowhere near the apartment, but she's that close, she says she feels something like calling her back there.
Oh.
Yeah. And like something trying to get into her head. And she doesn't know if it's like was self-inflicted because she's just scared, or if something really does still have a little bit of a hold on her. And
Could be a PTSD effect
I
too.
I wonder if that is the case.
Yeah.
And but bless her heart, she's amazing. She's such a good woman, and I hate that happened to her,
I do
especially at such a
too.
young age. I hate she
Yeah.
had to go through that. But
So glad that that she's
that it
you
ended
know
up
that it
okay. That she
yeah
ended up okay.
that she ended up okay and fine, and Joe
Yes.
is out of the picture.
Yeah, freaking Joe.
Honey, F
Joe, if you're
Joe,
watching this, fuck you.
go to hell. Obviously, you have
Unless you
friends
found the
there,
Lord and have repented for your bad doings.
and then we will pray
And
for
then,
you.
hello, Joe.
Thoughts and prayers.
Yes.
Thoughts and prayers.
But anyway, yeah, that is what happened. It is no
Wow.
picnic, honey. But thank God everything in the end turned out okay. But
No.
oh, I was going to mention, I about forgot a little part. Um, every person that has moved into this apartment, because Tracy's checked with people that live there, any person that has moved into that apartment has not made it longer than like a month.
Oh gosh. Our very own Amityville.
Apparently. So I just thought I'd throw that little tidbit in there.
Now we had something similar happen to a cousin of mine once.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I don't know the entire story or anything like that. I've honestly never even checked. I guess I could check with my mama
Yeah, check with your
and
mom.
see. But I know my granddaddy built a church.
Yes.
Yes. So anyway, it was one of the cousins. So the few little tidbits that I've got of the story, um, he just became very withdrawn, disconnected from his family, and started just uh, speaking different
Ooh.
languages that, like,
Oh no.
yeah. So they brought him to the church, and they, brought him to the altar. All of them laid hands on him and everything for a cleansing. And my Aunt Betty, who's actually dead and gone now, she was there that night. Yes, and she just said that just something came out of him and just shot around the church house until it finally just kind of obliterated.
That is terrifying.
Yeah, yeah.
Definitely try and see if your mom knows the story.
I'm sure she would. Surely she does.
So, guys, thank you so much for listening today.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Our fire embers have burned down, so now it is time we let you go.
Yeah. Now, if you want to, make sure you send Makala lots of love down in the comments. I'm sure she'd really appreciate it.
Yes.
She was awesome for letting us share the story. So was
Thank
Tracy,
you
her mama.
so much.
Send love to Tracy too. What a badass mom.
We appreciate you.
She was ready to throw down.
We appreciate you. And one more time, thank you, Joe.
Yeah, fuck you, Joe. Unless you found Jesus. Thank you so much for watching, guys.
Yes,
and if you
thank
would,
you.
please follow us and on all of our platforms. There's Spotify, YouTube, and TikTok. Lord, if I can talk. And on YouTube, if you will, once you hit subscribe, go to that little bell, click it, and then hit all, and you won't miss a thing.
Won't miss a thing.
Not a
Hashtag
thing.
the Guilders.
Hashtag the Guilders.
Bye. Bye.